Welcome to Pour the Wine, It's Rom-Com Time, where we'll sip some wine and review all things rom-com on the Hallmark Channel. I'm Amy.
And I'm Gary.
And we're going to get right to it today.
Yes,
what do you
we
think?
are. I think so.
Today we're going to be reviewing episode number 2 of the final season, season 4 of The Way Home,
Yes.
Blinded by the Light.
It's a song.
It is a song. It originally aired on the Hallmark Channel on Sunday, April 26th, 2026. You can see it right now on Hallmark Plus.
Yes, you can.
And this is the episode where we get to see Dan Jeanette.
Dan Jeanette.
He pops in as Cliff.
Yes,
and
he
we
does.
also saw Gabriel Hogan.
Yes.
Right? He shows up as Grayson Goodwin, which I didn't know. I remembered Dan was going to be in it, but I didn't know at what point we were going to see him.
Dan is the man that can drop an accent.
Dan is the man. Yes, he can. But he doesn't have an accent in this one. Right.
I mean, it's like bam, British, bam, Italian, bam, Spanish.
Yes.
He just drops them.
But in this
Love
one,
him.
no accent. We're all good.
No,
we're all good
on this one.
And then Bianca Melchior?
Melchior.
Melchior. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry if I mispronounced
No,
it.
because I had to look it up.
She plays young Fern. So we have some new actors in this one. If you want to see an entire list, go to imdb.com. There is a complete list of actors and actresses that are in The Way Home, and there are way too many to say right now.
There are tons of names.
Yes.
So Grant Harvey is the director of this particular episode, and Marion Hay and Heather Conkey are the writers. So
sounds good.
Let's drop the synopsis.
When Kat finds herself in a new era of Port Haven history, new mysteries unfold. Don't they always?
Oh, goodness.
Meanwhile, Alice revisits a familiar time, and Dell tries to help Elliot.
And he needs help, y'all. Send your prayers because he needs help, man. And we usually drop spoilers. And with this particular series, there's just no way to talk about it without dropping them. So if you haven't seen it yet, I suggest you pause the podcast, go watch it, come back, and let us know what you think.
Yeah,
or what your thoughts.
Definitely, because we will give away some spoilers. You can't help it because you want to talk about it, you know?
I know. It's funny because I feel like, do you remember Lost back when?
Yes, of course.
I remember going to work and having those water cooler talks. Like, what do you think?
Yes.
Who do you think is this? Who do you think is that?
Yes,
do you think this is going to happen? Are they in purgatory? This is the same thing.
Yes, it was so Lost was so good. I needed a flow chart, and you're right. I need a flow chart for this. I need a family tree.
100%.
I need a timeline. I need it now. If someone has one, please email it to us and we'll share it. We'll give you credit.
I know all these characters keep popping up, and I'm trying to figure out who's with whose family.
Who's the
like
name? Who's
Augustine, Goodwin, Landry.
We should have binged the whole
Landry's.
series before we started this season, just as a refresher.
I know.
It's fine.
It's okay.
All right. So in this particular, at the end of season 1, we left off where Kat, thank you very much. Kat and Elliot jump in the pond. The pond does not take Elliot. It takes Kat. And then Alice comes in from behind and she's like, "Oh no, Elliot, you didn't get taken with Mom." And then so Elliot stays, and then Alice jumps in.
Yeah.
And what's great is the pond takes both of them, but the pond takes them to different time periods, but they are greeted by the same person, Fern. Fern is the one who reaches her hand out to each of them and pulls them up. And of course, Alice is in 1976, right? And Kat is with 1925 Fern. And Elliot is still in present day with Dell.
and this is what I love so much about this series is the writing and how they both went back and were picked out of the water by Fern, who said the exact same thing to both of them.
Yes.
And I mean, that's writing right there. Sorry.
Yeah.
But that's writing.
Yeah. And it's so great because the entire series is so well written, but right out of the gate, in this particular episode, they are walking similar paths in different timelines. And they are identical to each other in some ways. They might be on the same road, in the same house, but of course there's different goings-ons
Yeah, and I
in
was going to
each
mention that.
timeline.
Yeah, I mean, it is so cool how, and we'll talk about those scenes when we get to them. But it is
Yeah.
cool how they mirrored one another,
Yeah. Yeah.
except for Elliot. He was back in the present time.
Well, that's okay. But there are some revelations a little bit with him too,
Oh yeah,
with Dell
yeah.
and the struggles that Dell goes through in this episode
Mm-hmm.
in terms of should she not
Right.
tell Elliot what she knows, and she's been holding this secret for so long,
Mm-hmm.
or secrets, right?
I
And
agree.
she doesn't know if she should tell him, but when alcohol is involved, little
No.
truth serum right here, little what do they call it? I can't think of the phrase right now.
No, I feel like,
Makes you loose lips.
yeah, loose lips, right? But yeah, he is desperately needing his mama.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. So we start off with, I think, with Elliot and Dell,
mhm.
right? And Dell is in present day, but then she has a flashback
Right,
of Elliot leaving her house as a teenager. Her and Colton, Dell is sitting with Colton as he leaves, and they're both like, "Bye, Elliot," and he leaves, and Dell, they start to discuss the pact that they made when Elliot was dropped off at their house as a baby.
right.
That because Dell really wanted to keep him,
Mm-hmm.
in their family,
Right,
and they made a pact that they would stay in his life, but
right.
they wouldn't keep him.
They- I was just gonna say yeah because they didn't want to tell him the truth.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. So, and there's probably more to that pact. We just don't know it yet.
right.
There's more things that they discuss. And then it goes back to present day, and she's looking at a picture of her, Colton, and Tessa,
Mm-hmm.
which is Elliot's mom. And there's someone cut out of the picture, and we don't know who that is
Right. We
yet.
have some
We
suggestions
have
or
suspicions.
suspicions, but
Right.
they're
But we
just
don't
that.
know.
Yeah.
Right. So that kind of sets the stage for Elliot and Dell. Now, Fern, 1925 Fern is with Kat,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of cool because you get to see Fern in her younger years,
Yeah.
and they don't know her, and Kat especially doesn't know her like this in the story she's heard. And she's, this like free-spirited,
Bubbly. Yeah.
bubbly person,
1920s. Yeah.
1920s,
Woman.
wants to live in the city, can't believe she's
Yes.
still in the country, type of girl,
Mm-hmm.
pushes the envelope. And Fern knows about time travel because her dad has told her that the pond is magic, and
Right.
she wants to know about the future, but she tells Kat, she needs to be a good rule following girl. Like, she's not going to ask her, but she's dying to know about the future. So it's kind of cute. And then they walk away, and then there's Fern and Alice in 1976.
Yep.
And I thought it was really cool the way Fern, when she is talking to Alice, and she's like, this is like deja vu
I
because
know.
she did it in 1925 with Alice's mom. And then she says what year, they're in, because I think maybe Alice asks her what year they're in,
Yeah.
and Alice is like, she doesn't know why she's there. And I thought it was really great when Fern says, "I've never met a time traveler with less sense of direction than Alice." And I thought that was kind of cute. Right?
Yes.
So that kind of sets the stage, for this episode of parallel timelines,
Yeah.
which is just really, really great.
Oh my God. It
Yeah.
blows your mind if you're not paying attention. I mean, how many times did we stop and start just to figure out what was
Yes.
said or
Yes,
what
that's
was
true.
revealed? And
It's just so true because you don't want to miss anything, and there is so much nuance. There are so many clues. I think in like everything, in
yeah,
the setting, in the props,
right.
in what they say, in the looks in there. I mean, there's just, you're looking for clues everywhere. And
Yeah.
and I have discussed many times on this podcast that I am not good at detective things. So I mean, I notice obvious things,
Yeah.
but you're much better at diving, at drilling down into things.
Right.
So
Yeah.
all right. So, and we have also had discussions about how to even go about reviewing this, because
I
this is
know,
our
it's
first year. We did watch it
right.
in the
Right.
past, but we didn't have a podcast. And this is a tough one I think, to
It,
review,
right.
to recap and review.
Yeah, because you don't want to give something away too soon, but it's
Right. But
very hard to review this and not be in, like chronicle
chronological, sequential
order, or
order.
yes,
Yeah.
because you'll get confused. I get confused. I'm like,
Right.
wait a minute, did that happen before or after this happened? And so we're gonna tackle this like in like the era that they were in,
Right.
and just
Right.
discuss everything that happened and then move to the next one.
Right.
What do you think?
That sounds good to me.
All
Let's
right,
try it. See
let's
how
try
it
it and see.
goes. All right. So are we gonna start in 1925? I'm gonna start with
Yeah, let's go ahead and start in 1925 because
1925.
that was the fun one.
Yeah, well, that was the
Yeah,
interesting one, the really
that was the
interesting one.
interesting one. Yep.
And I mean, so you have, of course, the flapper years, right? You've got the
Right.
flapper music going on, and you
Mm-hmm.
learn that Fern, like, she is no longer living in the Landry house. She's done
Right.
with that house, and a neighbor is renting it out. And I think that's going to end up being something. I don't know what.
You know it is. So just keep it in the back of your mind.
Yeah, because she's paying a neighbor to rent out the house, and and then I love how she says she doesn't want to time travel to the past, because I think Kat asks her, "Have you
Yeah,
time
she says
traveled?"
that's too boring.
Yep. Yep. The past is old. The past is boring. The future's where it's at. Is
Right.
what and it's just that actress that plays her is so good.
Oh my goodness.
I think it's
She
just
is.
so
It's like
good.
they plucked her right out of that time period.
Yes.
I
Yes.
mean, she played it really well. And you also learn that she's never time traveled at all.
Right.
So
Well, that's what yeah.
so that
Because
was
she
that
doesn't want
was
to.
a interesting drop from them. So
Right. Right. So they kind of start walking down a road, and again, there are scenes that go back and forth between
yes.
1976, present day, and really between 1976 and 1925.
Mm-hmm.
And the parallel, it was just done so well. So like
Yep.
when Fern and Kat are walking down a road, then the next scene is Alice, and Alice is walking by herself, right?
Right. She's walking
And she's
because
walking down the road by herself because Fern is older and she's gone to take a nap
she
in
had
the
to take a
Landry
nap.
house, right? She's older than 50 years older, right?
Yeah.
So she's gone to take a nap. Alice is walking down the same road, and Evelyn shows up, but we'll get to that.
Right.
But anyway, so we see kind of Fern and Kat, and they're making their way down this road. We meet these
The
brothers,
Augustine brothers. Yep. The bros.
the bros, who I think are going to play a role at some point too.
Yeah.
The Augustine name is in there.
Yep, it sure is. Because
And
that's Elliot's last name, right?
They give,
Or he's an Augustine.
He's an Augustine, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So they're probably his great uncles, maybe, or something. We
Somewhere
don't know.
in
We
there.
don't know.
They're great something. I can tell you that. Yeah.
So they pick up Kat and Fern, and they end up dropping. Do they drop them off at the newspaper
Yes.
office?
Yeah. That the next scene is them walking into the newspaper office, which is interesting because isn't that the same office that Kat takes over?
Yeah. Yeah.
In her present time.
Yes.
That's what I love about this, man.
Yes.
They just bring it all together. Ooh. Yes.
Well, and she says, and Fern says she's what, the social
Butterfly or something like that.
she's the society section. She writes the
Yes.
society section. And I love that she's what does she say? Gentlemen prefer blondes.
Yeah.
And the character in that is Fern's idol.
Right.
Laura
And-
Lee, I think she says. I
and
don't
she
know
likes
that movie that well,
writing
but
like her style. She's the bee's
Yeah.
knees, all that
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
yeah, and the way that they have that Fern flits around the office, and it is like sort of a full circle moment because that is an interest of Kat's also, right? Like she was a writer, right?
Right.
I think,
Yep.
and it's been a minute since we've seen the other seasons, so we don't remember that exactly correctly.
Right.
But and then you kind of learn that Fern is living there. She pulls down a bed.
That was
for
awesome.
the
That was awesome. I loved that.
Yeah, I thought that was so cute because Kat's like, "Where's your apartment?" And she's like, "Apartment." And you know that Fern, she's dying to get out of this small town. She wants
Right.
to live in the city. She wants to, leave this small town in the dust. And she just has her eyes, her sights are set
Right.
on leaving
Leaving.
and
Yep.
being somewhere else. And
and you think about it, it's kind of like how Kat was. She had to get out of that area too, right? Out of the small town, and she kind of left.
well, yeah.
So it's kind of interesting that they both felt that way.
And then they both ended up back
Yeah.
in the small town, right?
Yeah.
In Port Haven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then I also like this scene where she kind of joneses on Kat's clothing. She goes, "Is that what you dress like in the future?" She's like, "Well, boring."
Boring. Yeah, she's kind of giving her a hard time about that. That was pretty funny. So then Kat and Fern, there's a big party that night.
Right.
And Fern is basically like, we need to get you some clothes. You need to, what should you
Some
wear?
duds.
Right.
Yep.
So they're trying on dresses again in the newspaper office, which is where Fern is living.
Yep.
And that's where our friend Dan Jeanette walks in.
Oh my goodness. How funny was that? That banter back and forth between him and Fern was just,
yes. It's really, really good.
It just really reminds you of that time period.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
The dames and the broads and
the dames and the broads.
Yeah.
I don't know what the guys were called.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Guys, dudes, studs. I don't know what.
Yeah.
Gentlemen. But they weren't all gentlemen.
Yeah.
But the way Dan is so great in this, because the way he kind of smirks at her when he knows, when they're kind of like that flirtatious banter. Well, he's flirting with her, but she's like,
yeah,
that name. What does she say? She says something about the name, whether the name gives you trouble is entirely up to you.
I know.
That's what she says to
awesome.
Dan. Like, she does not take anything from anybody, right?
Yeah, that was awesome. That was an awesome.
Yeah. And he's there because he wants to rent a place to stay.
Right.
Because he's new
and
into
he
town.
was told he went there to see the editor.
Right.
Who is Grayson, but we don't know that at this point. But he's not there. So this is when he talks about renting, and Kat says, "Oh, well, she's got a house that you can rent." So that's how that all came about.
Which is the Landry house.
Right. Which is
her house.
Her house. in the
future.
middle of the street.
Yeah. So they have a little bit of banter. And then you have Kat and Fern. They head to the party at Langermore. Right. Which is the Goodwin house. Mm-hmm. And then we find out that Grayson.
Yes.
Is there, and he did a bunch of renovations on the house. The house was like I want to say a money pit, but it was, what's the right word? It needed a lot of renovations. It was broke down. He came in, he renovated it. Mm-hmm. And then you find out that Fern and Grayson are a little bit of an item.
Yeah. Ooh.
Which no one knows yet, right? So you have a Landry with a Goodwin.
That's right.
And this is where I'm trying to remember relationships and things and people, and my brain is just like, what?
Yeah, we kind of had to stop and start at that part of the movie. Yeah, because it was dropping a lot of information, and it was like, whoa, wait a minute, what did he say? What are they doing?
And how about the fact that they were showing the silent film, The Phantom of the Opera?
I know, that was
Wasn't that cool?
So cool.
Had no idea that was a film.
Yep.
Back in the 20s? Well, 25, duh.
Right. I remember it. I remember.
You remember it?
No. Well, I don't know if anybody remembers the show Dr. Mad Blood, but he used to show horror shows on, I think it was Friday nights. And he was just the host, Dr. Mad Blood, and he would show all these old horror movies, and that was one of them he showed.
That's so interesting, but it was a silent film.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So and it was a silent horror film, which I found to be really interesting too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the idea of this party is they have a bunch of investors, and Grayson wants to, this is where we learn that he is the one who wants to make a film in Port Haven. Mm-hmm. He wants to put it on the map for filmmaking, and he's got investors there, and he's hoping they will invest, and he has Fern perform in front of people. It's kind of like like a show dog, like, hey,
Right.
go perform. I was a little bit like, but she does because she wants to be famous. She wants to get out of a small town. This is her ticket.
Mm-hmm. And she was definitely fire.
And she was definitely
Fire.
fire.
She
Yeah.
sang and danced to that song. She sang.
Yeah.
Ooh, boy.
Yeah,
It was
she did
good.
really well. And you can
Yeah.
see Kat is kind of surprised about the Goodwin connection.
Right.
And then Grayson ends up proposing to Fern.
Yep.
And
then there's some, it kind of moves outside and you kind of hear, Kat kind of overhears Grayson talking to the Augustine brothers, and you kind of get the sense that there's some kind of bootlegging stuff going on. But Fern, she kind of dismisses it. So I thought that was an interesting scene. And then that's when the police come in.
There's a raid. There's a raid. You got to remember it's Prohibition and they are all drinking.
And that whole scene was funny too, how Fern acted, and she was like, here, hold my drink. And then she gives it to a guy. He turns around, there's the police. And he gets handcuffed.
Like, bye.
Bye, I'm out.
Yep. She knows how to get out of, seems like she knows how to get out of some jams there,
Yes.
that Fern.
So that was
she's been around the block a little bit.
Yeah.
So then they start to walk home from the party. Kat is like, I have to go home, and a car goes to drive by them. And of course it's Cliff, the one and only. He has now rented the farm, or rented, the Landry farm, and he offers to give them a ride.
Right.
They say they weren't drinking. And
this is where you find out he's the inspector temperance, which is code for he's the alcohol police. Back in the Prohibition time.
He's the popo.
He's the popo. And how funny was it that the flask falls out of Kat's
outfit?
Then
and
he's like,
that falls out.
Maybe I should be arresting you. And I just thought that was it.
And doesn't he say there's a fine with that? I could fine you.
Yeah.
And then Fern says, oh, she doesn't have any money. And what does he say? Like, why? And she's like, because she's a time traveler. And then they're like, ha, ha, ha.
And he's like, that's pretty good. I'd never heard that before. And I've heard a lot of good stories.
But you got to wonder who he is. Right. And then when Kat eventually, when they end up by the pond, because Kat has to go home, she has looked for Tessa. Her whole thing about going there, I forgot to mention that at the beginning, is looking for Tessa, Elliot's mom, and she hasn't found her. And she says she's Tessa. Does she say Tessa Augustine?
Yes.
At first,
I think so.
And then when she's at the pond with just Fern, she says, or maybe she goes by Tessa Cooper, and there's a look on Fern's face that maybe tells us that she knows who she is.
Right.
Maybe.
Yes.
But she does not tell Kat that.
Right.
At that moment.
Exactly.
So there is a mystery about Tessa existing in the 1925s. We think maybe that's where she is. And she got stuck there.
Yes.
Somehow,
either on purpose or by accident. So.
Right. So. And we have a little bit of a theory about that.
Yeah.
Maybe.
All right. Well, let's move on to the 1975.
All right. Take it on. Let's go.
So
1976.
Or 76, sorry. Like you said, Alice is walking this same kind of road that her mom and Fern were walking in 25.
Yeah.
And Evelyn picks her up in a nice car, by the way.
Yes.
So she is obviously has money.
Well, she's gone off and had like a singing career or something, right?
Right. She went off and and actually got married. But and she Evelyn drops her off at Coyle's. I think that's what it's called. Who I think Jasper is the owner of that particular establishment.
Right.
So that's where we pick up with her.
Well, and it's great because it's an era that Alice has traveled to before. So she knows, she doesn't have to go through all the awkward, introductions and who is she and where is she from. But they're like, hey, welcome back. It's good to see you again,
Right. And, he's glad to see her, and he gets her favorite drink. And I think Evelyn comes back at that point, and they're talking, and she's happy because she's getting married, and Alice is back, and Jasper, or Allison is looking at a a song that's on some paper, and she's kind of singing, and then Jasper says, "Oh, why don't you play us this song? Because it's like the anniversary of when the explosion happened in the tunnels, right?"
Well, he also asked her to sing her own music, and she won't
Right.
do it still.
Which is weird
It's
because
kind of a
that's
running
the
theme.
second or third time she was
Yeah.
asked to sing her own
Yes.
music, and she kind of, freaked out, but
She
and
doesn't want
didn't.
to yet.
Right. And so she ends up singing the song that Jasper handed her. And it had to do with 5 people that went into the tunnels. There was an explosion and only 4 came out,
Yes.
which is relevant and important to what's going on in this
Yes.
series. We don't know
Yeah.
exactly what yet and who survived and who didn't, but there's theories.
Yes, there are theories.
So then they end up leaving Coils and going to the palace, her mansion,
Langarbor. Yeah.
Langmore, which is the same mansion that Grayson had, right?
Right.
And that Cat and Fern were in back in the 20s.
For the party. Yep.
For the party.
Yep.
So that's interesting. And this is when we get introduced to Ash, who is a hippie.
A big old hippie.
And him and Cole kind of have a little thing, or Colton have a little thing.
Well, Ash is really condescending too.
Yes, very condescending.
Yes.
Very condescending. And Colton notices it and tries to convince Evelyn, but he can't. But Evelyn decides,
tries to convince Evelyn that
he's no good. He's just there for the money and and the house and stuff. But Evelyn, not wanting to hear it, decides they want to go down and explore the tunnels of the palace, right?
Well, before that, I think it's important to talk about the fact that Ash, he brings up T.S. Eliot.
Yes.
And that is a connection to Tessa. I immediately was like, because Tessa had the T.S. Eliot book, right? In the diner when she met Alice in 1974, maybe, or something. So he brings up T.S. Eliot, and then he also says something like, if it wasn't for the ocean, I'd be chucking myself off of Evie's palace. Right. And that is similar to the story that was going to be filmed.
Exactly.
In
25.
Port Haven in 1925. It was about a lighthouse. And,
yeah, I mean, there's a lot
someone,
of...
falling off the lighthouse or having a boating accident. And then Fern was going to play the character that pined after looking for the ghost of her love who had died off of the top of a lighthouse. And so when he said that, there's some kind of connection there too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is.
Okay, sorry, I digress. Go ahead.
No, so then they go down into the tunnels, and Alice, as they're walking, kind of stops, and the rest of the group continues on. But then Colton comes back with his flashlight, and he's like, "This place is creepy. It's spooky." And Alice says something to the effect of, "It's kind of like these are jail cells," which, if you remember, Jacob, when we first started watching this series, when they found Jacob, he was in jail in that palace.
Which I did not remember, but you brought up.
Yes, he was in one of the cells down in the tunnels. So, I mean, how crazy is that to write that in like that?
Crazy, excellent writing.
Right. So Evelyn comes to the point in the tunnels where the explosion happened, and she's like, "Oh, this is all creepy." So they leave, and one thing that I found interesting is before Colton and Alice met up with Evelyn, he had told Alice that the story he told her about time travel wasn't true. He was just kidding.
He was just kidding around, yeah.
So there's another theory behind all of that. But anyways, as they're leaving, Alice kicks something on the ground. She picks it up, and it looks like a bullet casing. So we're not sure what that's all about.
Yeah, that's true. That's another sort of mystery that opens up.
So that was crazy. So we continue on. Colton's sick of Ash. He decides to leave. Evelyn, of course, is upset. She talks to Alice. She asks if Ash is the one for him, and she's like, no, not really. And then she ends up leaving and meeting up with Colt.
Okay, Alice ends up leaving and
And
meeting with
meeting with
Colton.
Colt.
Evelyn, though, tells Alice that she's
Right.
pregnant.
Yes.
That's where you learn that Evelyn is pregnant, and she doesn't want to raise her baby with Ash.
Right.
Right.
That's crazy. See, look at all the stuff that's been
I
dropped.
know. You can't possibly. I know. It's hard to.
So anyway, Alice meets up with Colton, who's on the side of the road in the back of his pickup. And Alice decides to play one of her songs. And Colton loves the song, but he tells her that's not her. You need to write your true love song.
Which I thought that was interesting. I wasn't expecting that.
I was not expecting that either. And I'm wondering if, well, I don't know. That's another theory. But anyways, as they're sitting there,
that's what we're here for.
Somebody rides by on a motorcycle really fast. And Colton was like, I got to go. Are you coming? And Alice and them jump in the truck and they drive off. And come to find out, when they get to the house, it's Colton's brother, Griffin. But we don't see him. We just see the bike. So, what do you think?
The plot thickens. Dun, dun, dun.
Plot thickens. So there's another theory, right?
I think it's a lot to digest. And then we go back to present day. So like you've said, like I've said, the writing is so great because the story, it's sort of woven together like a tapestry. And you go from the different time periods and it's just seamless the way it's written, the way it flows while you're watching it. It is a little bit like we're trying to remember things that happened in past episodes or past seasons. And it's hard, but you are also just so engrossed in it. I mean, the 40 some minutes it is goes so fast.
Right.
Because there's so much going on. And, in the present day, you really have Dell and Elliot, getting closer, and Dell is getting closer and closer to wanting to tell Elliot something, but she's not quite there. And then they go and have a drink, and, like I said, it's a little bit of the truth serum when they get to the bar, right?
Yeah.
And Dell is just, she tells Elliot that she wishes that she so badly wanted to be his mom.
Right.
And, wishes she would have raised him, basically, which, we've kind of seen all along. And then I was just glancing at my notes. Dell says she always thought Tessa left him with them because she wanted them to be his parents.
Right.
And she really wanted that to be true.
Right.
And he really wanted that to be true.
Right.
And then we see where Dell is looking at the picture again. She remembers talking to Colton about whether Tessa left with him.
Right.
And we don't know who him is, who Tessa could have left with. And Colton basically says, that night, that person, I just want the whole darn thing behind us.
Right.
We agreed it would be our secret.
Right. And he's the one that rips the picture.
And he rips the picture and throws it in the fire, or?
Yes, he throws the other half into the fire. Yep.
So then we know how the picture got ripped.
Yep.
But we don't see the picture. We don't know who it is yet in the picture.
Nope.
And then, of course, Kat returns, and she's questioning whether or not she is a Goodwin now.
Right.
Because she knows Fern, which is her. We're trying to figure out, Fern is what would have been Colton's grandmother, right?
I think so, yes.
Do I have that right? So it would have been her great-grandmother. It would be Kat's great-grandmother. So she comes back. She says she couldn't find Tessa. Elliot's kind of upset.
Right.
And they all sit around the table. And then Dell basically says that she made a pact with Colton, but he's not there.
Right.
Right. And it's time that she told Elliot the truth, whatever that means.
Right. And she did a photo drop.
And she did a photo drop. Yeah.
Yeah. And Elliot was like, oh, you all knew each other back then.
You all knew each other, which I kind of
thought they all
maybe
knew
he
that?
already knew that, but I guess not. So Ooh,
Yeah. Well, he knew they knew each other. He didn't know that they were friends, like friends.
like friends, like they
Right.
hung out
Like they
friends,
hung
like they
out.
were close friends.
Yep.
And we had a lot of discussion after this one because we are trying to figure out who would Tessa have left with,
Right.
who's the other person in the picture.
Right.
And it kind of freaks me out to think that I don't think Griffin can't be
Sam.
Elliot's dad.
Yeah.
Because if he is, he's related to Colton, and that would mean Elliot and Kat are that can't be
That
the
can't
way it
be.
goes,
I
right?
don't think it
I
is.
mean, Griffin could be in the picture, but he's probably not Elliot's dad. He's not Elliot's dad. I'm like, please don't do this to me. This is Hallmark,
Right.
Like I know they're not going to end up being related.
Right. Well, there's a lot
Elliot
of
and Kat.
things, and we'll just. You want to go run through them real quick? The theories.
Sure, go ahead. Yeah,
So
let's do it.
I'm thinking, okay, so Sam, he could be Griffin. We're not sure,
Yeah,
right?
but we
Obvi-
question um, why Dell wouldn't recognize him.
right. So we're not sure on that end. Was Tessa taken? What did she go on her own, or was she forced to go? We're not sure on that.
Yeah. Or did she go because there was some threat of
Right. She was protecting
yeah,
Elliot
yeah.
from
Maybe
something.
Sam is Ash. Maybe Ash time traveled.
Yeah, I don't know. We're gonna find out. But
Yeah.
it's just so interesting. Jasper, he's a is he an Augustine, or he's who is
Coyle. Or is his last name Coyle? I don't know.
yeah,
Jasper, the
Jasper.
owner
Yeah,
of the
Jasper Coyle. And we find out there's another Coyle. See, this is it's so
convoluted.
confusing.
Yeah.
But my biggest thing that I was thinking about was who were the guys or people that were in the tunnel, and they talked about
Right.
they were bootleggers, like rum runners.
Right.
And remember, Jacob and Thomas back in their time were doing the same thing. So I'm wondering if Jacob, somewhere in this timeline, was in that period, whether 25 or whether 75 or 76 or something like that, because
Mm,
he also ran rum, and that's why he
yeah.
ended up in that cell in the palace.
Yeah.
So, mm,
And what did we think about the person who died? So
in the
someone dies in the tunnel.
right, they say because they never found the body, so
They
they
never found the
assume
oh, so that
right.
ugh.
So we
So
don't know.
how does Tessa get stuck? When we think Tessa is in 1925,
Right.
right?
Yes.
We definitely think that. Well, we know she time traveled.
Mm-hmm.
We're just not sure where she got stuck. We think maybe she got stuck somewhere
Right.
and couldn't leave, and that would only be because she wasn't with a Landry to jump.
Correct.
But then how does Elliot ever jump alone? I can't remember the other seasons, or does he?
Yes, he
Because
jumps
don't you
alone.
have to be with a Landry to jump for
Yeah,
the pond to take you?
but Jacob is a Landry, so he could jump.
Well, Jacob is, but Elliot, I'm talking about Elliot.
Elliot, no, he
Right.
can't jump by himself.
Right. So we have to figure out where Tessa is.
Right.
Who
Yep.
is Sam? I think Ash is going to come back into play at some point,
Mm-hmm.
somewhere along the way.
Right.
Whatever happens to Grayson Goodwin, because
Right.
Evelyn mentions Grayson. She says, "My grandfather, Grayson Goodwin."
Right.
So
Yep.
we know well, I guess we already knew Evelyn was a Goodwin.
Yes.
See, we're running circles here. I don't know.
I know.
How are the Augie boys, the Augustine boys?
Yeah. Who are they and what do they play? So
Yes.
we still got a couple episodes before
Yeah.
all this
Yeah.
starts to become clear, and we're like, oh, awesome. That's
Yeah.
cool.
And
I didn't think of that.
when you watch it, it's so hard. Like we're watching it, and I just keep thinking this is the last season, and it's just so good.
Oh my God.
You
I don't
know,
want it to end.
it's just really, really good. And I like sitting and trying to figure things out, and and us having discussions after. Normally before podcasts we don't talk, but we do during the way home. We have to discuss it because I can't hold it in.
That's right. Thomas, back in the day with Jacob, his last name is Coyle. That's it.
Oh, is that okay? Is
That's
that
what
the
it was.
connection?
Yes, that's
So,
the connection.
and
And
Thomas was
the pirate that Kate
okay.
fell in love with back
Cat.
with, or Cat. I
Cat.
keep saying Kate.
Yeah.
Cat
Yeah.
fell in love with. So, and I think he
And
time traveled,
Jasper's
didn't he?
Inquit.
Didn't he jump
Okay.
in and meet her in the
Yes,
future?
I think so.
So, okay. So there you have it.
Yeah, there's just a lot. There's a lot. There's a lot.
Oh my
I'm
God. It's
trying to
just,
think. I think something's gonna, and then we have the Dan Jeanette of it all as Cliff, right?
yes.
Something's gonna he's connected somehow, some way, probably to the Landrys, but I
Right.
don't know how yet.
Right.
Like,
Right.
yeah,
We'll find out. We'll find out.
it's gonna be interesting. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm excited about the rest of the season. Okay, so for this episode, we're trying to pick a best moment and a character of the week. So for you, what would be your best moment? And it doesn't have to be like the
Right.
one
Right.
that gave the clue away, the big reveal. Just like
Right.
what you felt.
My best moment was the party back in 25. I just thought that was
Yes.
such fun, and a lot of things were going on, and it was really, it was shot really well. So,
Yeah.
what about
Yeah.
you?
I enjoyed when Fern first takes Kat to the newspaper office. I
Yes.
thought that was really cool. I thought that was a great full circle moment for Kat,
Mm-hmm.
just in terms of she's at the newspaper, she's getting to learn about her great grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
And I really liked when Dan Jeanette came in, like that whole
That
sequence
was a
of
good scene.
scenes
Yeah.
there, I thought was really great.
Yeah.
I thought it
Me
was
too.
really, really great. And like I
Yeah.
said, I love Dan Jeanette's little smirk that he gave. It was just perfect for what was going on between him and Fern. And so that would be my moment.
And I'm really glad that he got that part, because
Yeah,
he
yeah,
plays it really
he's
well.
really he's
Yeah.
really good. And Gabriel Hogan's really good as Grayson.
Yeah. He totally
Also,
different from Romance at
from
Hope
Romance
Ranch.
at
Yeah.
Hope Ranch. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's
It's
really
more
good.
serious role.
All right, character of the week for you.
Oh, Fern, hands down, man.
100% Fern.
I mean,
A
oh my
110%
goodness, she
Fern.
made it. I mean,
She is, and there's just something about the 20s that everybody, and
yep.
I look, as a female, as a woman, those were not easy times,
No,
for
no,
us. So, I mean, I get it, but everybody sort of romanticizes the 20s, and you definitely get that, in terms of the flapper, the dresses,
hmm
the way they're speaking,
right,
the head, gear that the women wore, and the suits of the men. You get all of that
right,
in this so far, and I just thought it was, and you get the bootlegging, you get the
yeah,
prohibition of it all,
hmm
you get the speakeasy sort of, it
yep,
wasn't really a speakeasy, but they made it that because they were drinking there. And so I just, yeah, Fern, that actress is so good as Fern, and I'm digging it so far. Totally digging it.
all right.
Yeah.
Well, is that a wrap?
That's a wrap.
Because I can't talk about it anymore. My head hurts.
I know.
I'm still confused.
This is more of like a recap than a review, but
That's
yeah.
okay. I mean, it's kind of hard to do it
I
one way or
know,
the other.
I know.
So,
All right.
out of 5 corks,
Nope. How many jumps?
oh, that's right.
We
Out
were
of
doing jumps in the
5
pond.
jumps,
How many jumps?
how many?
I would give this one a 5 also. I
Yeah,
thought
me
it was
too.
really great. I thought it moved the story forward.
Yes.
We got some questions answered, but a lot more
Yeah,
questions still,
Yeah.
came up. So what about you? How many jumps for you?
5.
Out of 5?
Easily.
5.
I'm telling you, I'm dunking in this
You're
pond 5
dunking. You're
times.
dunking.
Boosh. I'm cannonballing, man. That's what I'm doing.
Definitely. Definitely.
All right, so that is the wrap, and we appreciate you guys listening. And the best way to support our podcast is if you're listening on Apple, give us a 5-star rating, give us a review. Also on Spotify, you can do the same thing. If you like watching us over on YouTube at Pour the Wine is Rom-Com Time, you can
Hopefully you do.
click that like button, hit the subscribe button, and never miss an episode when we drop one.
There you go.
There
Or
you go.
you can also, send us an email to pourthewineisromcomtime@gmail.com
Mhm.
and let us know your thoughts so far about the final season of The Way Home, or the Spring into Love movies that just wrapped up,
Yep.
or anything Hallmark related. We would love to hear from you.
We sure would. So drop us an email.
Make sure you follow us wherever you get your podcasts and on all social media so you don't miss a thing. Until next time, cheers.